record? Oh, okay, I think we are recording, I believe. So we'll find out after, I suppose. Okay, so let's see here. I got a landscape, which it's more for the advanced or free in the soul kind of people, because this one is not the kind of like paint by the number kind of, you know, coloring page. Let me see, like if we were to do a like this one, this would be like a simple painting, but the landscape requires a little bit more ability. So let's see how I do with this one, because maybe I don't have that good ability.
You want to see mine that I did on that one?
No, go ahead.
All right. There's my version of it.
Oh, very cool. You went full colors.
Yeah,
Love it.
with the pens.
Very nice. Yeah, so let me see. I'm going to start with the sky and probably do some blending here. So, okay, I guess we're going to have like a bit of a sunset. And if I had printed this one on a nice watercolor paper, it would have been fun to do an actual watercolor. You see, I'm using a technique that's called like crosshatch. So basically you just move around and it's going to feel kind of like randomly. It's not going to have like a pattern with the pencil. Different from doing like,
could I ask
what?
a question?
Sure.
The word crosshatch, it makes me think of, you know, lines this way and then lines this way, like crossing.
Yes, it would be maybe more a scribble.
More of a scribble, okay.
Yeah. So see, like, it's like a lot of people will go with the, you know, just feeling like in one direction. Mm-hmm. And what happens is that this makes the lines show, the color is very hard to see with the lighting here, but it actually shows like whenever you go over, yeah, it's going to show a mark where, you know, like I was going on this side and then on that side. Oh, right. So right. I like the scribble technique mostly because, you know, you go over in many directions. Okay. And that just, you know, allows a more continuous look, I guess, you know. For a bigger space. And yes, and then you can control it a little bit better as well, because, you know, you're using one color and then you come with another color and you kind of like, you can mix like easier because it doesn't have like a, it doesn't have to be a smooth transition. You kind of like just go on top of that other color. That makes sense. Yeah, so I like this technique much better than a standard, you know, like trying to be smooth like the top there. Well, that's why I didn't color in that part, because I don't like that liney look. Yeah, so you can try the scribble. Okay. Because it is kind of fun, actually. And you will notice, like in a lot of my drawings, especially on the trees, like I'm trying to be a little bit more clean because these pages are for people to color. But right. I use kind of like the scribble. Right. So I don't draw every leaf. I do like, you know, a little do-do-do. So it's the idea of the leaves and not the leaves itself. If that makes sense. It does. Okay. Colored those leaves. I know what you mean. Let's see if I have a yellow. I just really like the golden hour colors. So the sunset makes everything warm, and it doesn't have like the hard shadows from midday. And it kind of like gives a cool transition, you know, of colors, because everything gets warm. So it's kind of like as if you have like a tint going on top of your everything, you know. So if you take a photo on golden hour, then you get everything kind of like looks nicer in a way, because the colors just really blending with each other.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, if you see the scarves, my photos, you know, like the photographer, really good, like Diandra Delucci. She asked me to go take the photos with her at the golden hour, and I was like so happy. And we also had the sun in the background instead of in the foreground, so you have the light, the backlight, and it just gives a very cool, like for the scarves, because they're transparent.
Mm-hmm.
So the light coming through the scarves is just like precious.
Yeah, it was nice.
And my Eagle scarves are arriving soon.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, I'm very excited about that. So see, with the Scribble, you kind of like just go on top and kind of like work on the transition as you want. And you just build one color on top of the other. So it kind of like, you can blend really nicely. You won't give like a hard line between the areas. So now I have to fix this mess that I did here to show the example. And I'm planning on doing another live for painting. And I am thinking I'm going to approach the Impasto technique.
So, say it again.
Impasto.
And what is that?
It comes from Italian and basically means like a paste. So it's a heavy paint technique.
With the palette knife.
Yes, I use the palette knife, although like impasto can be done with a brush as well. It simply means like thick applying of paint.
Right.
So if people talk about, you know, Van Gogh, and a lot of people mention that my work goes in that direction, I could never say, you know, anything close to it, but it does have Van Gogh qualities, as some people say, because of the approach I take with the colors and the impasto. But Van Gogh used a brush. He didn't use the palette knife. And I use the palette knife, so it's a lot thicker. If you want to see a bit more contemporary artist that did a lot of impasto, is Lucian Freud. And people say that, you know, like I also had like a art critic once comparing my work to Lucian Freud. But he's British and he painted the royal family.
Oh.
Very, very cool, like extremely thick palette.
Wow. Well, I think I would like that a lot because I like a lot of texture.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love texture, and I mean, like, that's definitely my comfort zone. So if you see me working with palette knife, I can do it with the, you know, with the back of my hand. It's just like, it just flows, because I've been doing that for 20 years.
Wow.
But when you paint large, it gets quite pricey.
Yeah.
So I don't do heavy impasto on a large piece unless, you know, I have a commission that will pay for it.
All right. I'm switching drawings.
Okay. Did you finish that one?
No. I'm going to do that.
Okay, cool.
I'll practice what you're doing while you're doing it. So what's a good color to start with as your base, I guess?
Well, depends what you're doing, but I mean, like, you want to do it more realistic? You're approaching like a fun, colorful stuff like the other stuff you've been doing? What direction are you going?
Well, I want to learn what you're doing while you're doing it.
Okay, so I would say start with the sky, and you can start with a nice orange.
Orange, okay. I have one of those. So basically, like, right down in here, start with the orange down, and then kind of.
Yep, and you can put like it a lot, you know, do it a lot stronger in this lower area.
Okay.
And then as you go up, you make it light because you're going to need to transition to blue. So it's kind of like going to go with slightly green and then to blue. Okay. But the green is it's not strong. It should be almost imperceptible. Imperceivable?
Imperceptible.
Imperceptible. Thank you. See, I don't have Bella here today to correct me. She always, you know, corrects me when I'm speaking English, and she's like, well, that's not the word. Yeah, but it's good. Like, you know, she does it nicely. She says, oh, it's your second language, and well, it's actually my third language. So it's very cute. She says, like, you do speak other languages, so, you know, don't be too hard on yourself, because I'm like, oh man, I can't believe I didn't get that right. So when you're painting a scene that is like a sunset or a sunrise, usually you're going to get like the main area should be very dark, because, you know, if you want to go for a natural approach, you would only get kind of like halo around that would be lighter. But I do like to mix, and I think that that's the best thing about painting, is that you can actually be creative. So it doesn't have to look like reality. And then I can do colorful stuff with a colorful background, so it kind of like makes it more fun. That it wouldn't be real. I do see people teaching sometimes, and they say like, you have to do it this way or that way. And I'll say like, I do agree with the have to if you're trying to achieve something specific. But I don't like the have to in general. If someone asks me, you know, like, how should I do this or that? And I say, well, it's entirely up to you. However it feels good for you, you know, like, but if you want to achieve something specific, there are techniques that will get you there. But I don't like the right and wrong on, you know, generally speaking. So it would be wrong to have a colorful foreground if we're doing a sunrise or a sunset in a realistic approach. But it is absolutely fine when you're taking a creative approach.
Okay.
And I think I don't have my pencil sharpener, because of course I have, you know, Kawi upstairs doing homeschooling, and so I take my stuff up there to use with him, and I forget to bring it back down. So it's going to be a challenge, because once I run out of the edge for one color, I'm going to move to another color instead of sharpening the pencil. Sorry.
I was going to say, you need one for upstairs and one for downstairs.
Yeah, I just wasn't expecting homeschooling, especially this long. But, you know, they did say that it's the last week. They're doing school ending sooner So we have next week and we're done with homeschooling, which is good in a way, you know, because there's no obligation on, you know, getting the kids to learn something, but it's going to be a challenge in the sense that there's not going to be anything for them to do. So I don't want the kids to be playing video games. What was that?
Probably would want to keep on or some version of doing that to kind of keep their little brain going, you know?
Yeah, I was thinking like, you know, create some sort of routine with Kawe. He's been reading every morning. He does half an hour reading. And since I know he's not going to want to do that over the holidays all that much, I started to introduce that on the evening reading because I read for him to go to bed. Right. And then yesterday he was like, can you read another book? And I was like, no, but you can read another book for me. So he read me another book after I read him a book. Wow. So that was kind of cool. And I hope I can keep that going, you know. Mm-hmm. So see, I started to add a second green to give a little bit of a variation. And also like I did the yellow in the corners, which, you know, I'm very low on yellow, but that will give that glow from the golden hour. Can I see a close up? See, like the edges, I'm using like a little bit of yellow. I see. And you see that I'm not the most patient kind of person, so I don't take too much care around the corners, but I just think that it gives a nice flow. Yeah. Because it's not harsh. And that's kind of like the approach I have on my watercolors. I do like a nice drawing and then the colors kind of like just flow around and it's very loose and free. So I was thinking about adding a turtle to the collection. Oh, that'd be nice. Yeah, I've been meaning to do a turtle, like to paint a turtle in forever, because like I did watercolors. What was that? Didn't you have some turtle cards when I first met you? Yes, but they are watercolors. Okay. So I want to do an oil painting of a turtle. Ooh. And I've taken several pictures at the aquarium. There's this really large turtle in the main tank. Mm-hmm. So I still have to figure out what is the best reference for the painting. Because of course, you know, the painting of the turtle will make fantastic pillows. Yeah, no doubt. So, you know, like whenever I'm painting now, I'm thinking, you know, what product could I do with this? Because like I'm loving the product line. I wish I had a lot of money to order my own products. Mm-hmm. Like for instance, the peacock, I made this really cool bed. How's it called? Duvet cover and pillows. So I made one of the peacock and I'm like, oh my God, I want one for me. But, you know, they're like, I think around $200 or something. Like, well, I'm not ordering them right now, but, you know, I'll be very happy to see someone ordering. Yeah. And I'll say, like, I do order, I try to order, like, most of the stuff so I know what I'm offering. Because when you have something on demand, you know, like, I create all these products, but, you know, not every time I see them finished. Right. And my manufacturer, they're good, you know, like, they're really thorough on who to use for, you know, whatever products. So if the quality is not, if someone complains about the quality, they cut them out. So we had the masks, which they are great. I mean, like, I love them. They're great quality. But they started with a 5-day supplying, like, production time.
Yep.
And then they had such a huge demand that now it's a month. So what do? They say, okay, we're taking them out because we can't have, like, I can't have customers expecting a delivery and it's like a month, you know? So I gladly took them off the production line, and hopefully they'll find someone else, because like the quality is really good, but they were not delivering how we wanted. So, but I am confident whenever I put a product that the quality will be good. Let me see. Colors. Found another pink. This is what I was looking for. And another green. Nice. I have 3 greens. So when I run out of one, I can do the other one. Because I'm not going to bother going upstairs and finding the sharpener.
Yeah, I got that set that has like 72 colors or some such a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like sometimes I kind of line them out like all the greens so I can kind of pick which one I want.
Yep.
Sometimes they all look the same, and I'm like,
Oh.
There's a cursor in my face. Move your cursor. Computer.
Oh man, no, technology is really funny. Like I was trying to have a call with my sister this morning, and you know, the internet in Brazil is generally not good, but it's been really bad recently. So we try a WhatsApp call, and then that wasn't working. So we tried FaceTime, and that wasn't working. Then we tried a Zoom call. That didn't work either. So I gave up. I was like, okay, well, it's not working today. Who knows what's the story there? But yeah, so now we all have been doing these Zoom calls and all of this, and we kind of like have these strange things like cursor on the face and see, like I have a very limited color set here. So I decided to, you know, I have only one brown, and I was doing the trunks with this brown, but it's not the brown I want. So what am I doing now? I'm adding orange on top of the brown so it can be a little bit warmer.
Gotcha.
So that's something you can always do, you know, with the pencils. I'm bummed that the yellow is almost out, because I really want the yellow on the...
Well, if you want to run upstairs, I'll entertain if anybody comes along.
Well, thank you. Let me see first here if I really can't do what I want to do. I'm just trying to put like yellow on the lamppost, and I want it to have like a glare. So see how I'm just going over like with a lot of outside, just because yeah, then it's going to have like a halo, like, you know, the lamps are lit.
Right. And then what are you gonna, so there's like something behind that. How do you color that? Like the building?
Let me see. Let's use a gray.
Halo?
Well, you go around the halo.
Okay.
So you don't really cover the halo. You may, if you want, like depending on the color you're using, just slightly go on over it, just to have a little mix of colors, as if, you know, the background is showing through.
Right.
So like I use the gray, so it doesn't really matter. But if you're using like a more full color, like, you know, a red or something, you might want to have that bleeding through the halo, so you can just slightly blend. And then I keep thinking of that song, Halo. I can see a halo. How is the song again? I can't remember.
Yeah.
If my sister was here, she would say, stop. My family likes quite musical, but they're convinced that I am hopeless, so I can never get the tune right or anything. So whenever I start singing, they go like, no, no, don't. So yeah, I enjoy car rides by myself where I can sing away and no one will say anything.
There you go.
Just on another lamppost.
Yeah, they kind of keep happening. You're like, oh, there's
they appear. Because, I use real photographs for reference on these drawings, so it has a lot of elements that are it can get quite complex. But I really don't remember the color of these buildings. I do think there was some blue somewhere, so I'm going to try to add some blue here. I realize there's some bushes down here, so let's make sure I get the green there before I paint right over. If I color right over, it's not really painting here. Sip and color. This is yet another green. Different, even if they're like just slightly different, it just makes the work more elaborate.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I learned from my teacher at the Art Students League, he said, to make a painting, I think I told that in the live call, to make a painting balanced, you should have the color, like some colors going like throughout the whole piece. Mm-hmm. Because that helps, your eye to travel around the piece because it's following those colors. Okay. So when I mix a color, I'm on a corner here, and then I try to add some of that color around other areas just to help with that.
Okay. I get it.
Interesting. I don't have a black. Okay, so I had blue on the street, on the road. Now I'm adding some gray because I think those roads are kind of like a bluish gray in a sense. And then because it's a sunset, I am going to add orange on top. Just to give it a little tint of orange. Yeah, the thing for me with pencils is it just doesn't get bold enough on the colors.
Yeah, me too. Because, like you heard earlier, I do like the bold.
Yep. Then we can kind of like add a little shading just to make it more interesting. And see, after I put like a base color, I'm just going to make some areas darker. So we're watching a new show.
Oh, what are you watching?
Lucifer.
Oh my.
I would say it's quite fun. It's the it's interesting because it starts out with a very Bible approach of the idea of Lucifer, you know, and then it kind of like transitions to a mix of Greek mythology, because like now he refers, you know, to his father, and then there's mom as well. So she's kind of like Aram from Greek mythology, you know, wife of Zeus. So it's interesting, like it's a completely different idea that I thought it was going to be in the beginning, but I'm liking it. It's fun, like it's very, very comedy like. So I'm enjoying. Okay, and I think I am kind of done with this one.
So here's where I can really see where my perfectionism comes in. It's me. You're like done.
Yeah, like I don't take. Yeah.
So, but I'm like still kind of.
Oh, I don't take coloring seriously. I think it's meant to be a relaxing thing. So, you know, I'm just, you know, putting colors there. And I mean, it's not like it's completely bad, but I mean, I didn't worry about, you know, getting anything proper. Just putting colors with a very small selection of colors.
Oh, it looks amazing.
Thank you. And how is your coming along? Oh, nice.
See, I can't see what you're seeing. See, I think I got too much line in between my colors. The blue kind of went up there a little bit, but it was too late to get it off.
Yeah, I'll say like you definitely put a lot of pressure on putting the colors down. So that's where, that's why your hands also get sore from doing it, because like, look at this here. See how soft it is?
Yeah.
I'll put like a very strong here just to show the difference. You're probably doing this.
Probably.
So see how different it is on the collar? And it takes so much more pressure. And when I do that, you can actually see like the stable has like texture. So it shows the texture here.
Yeah.
because
I always put this paper underneath.
Yeah, because it's pressing so hard. Which, you know, if you want to have like a bolder look, you definitely need to do that, because otherwise, you know, it's going to be very light, like what I was doing. But see, like blending becomes different, like very hard when you try to
Yeah, it does.
blend with a hard approach.
So what do you think of my street?
That's cool. That's cool. Coming along well. Very nice.
Some pink in it too.
Yeah. So anyway, that's, you can be a little lighter on your hand, just, you know, so it doesn't hurt you so much. But now that I got some strong colors in the sky, I kind of like, I need to do that too, just to kind of like finish what I started.
Let's see about having that later.
See, I was done until you decided to show me what you're doing. And I had to make it bolder. I feel like you can make it bolder, like, and still kind of like use the Scribble and, but the transition from blue to yellow is going to be harder.
Yes, trust me, I know.
Then you just have to get a bit lighter when you get to the yellow. And then go with the yellow on top of the blue a little bit. Okay, now I have a bold sky.
Yes, you do.
See, huge difference. But you know, it's nice. It just takes so much more effort, and I think just colors with pencils are never that bold anyway. So, but anyway, I think I am done with this one, and I will stop the recording so we can continue without the recording.
Okay.
And wow, and then I'll see. This is my first recording.